Hello and welcome to a beautiful evening at Storytel, where we're going to be celebrating love on the occasion of the upcoming Valentine's Day. Well, this evening is a special gift to all our dear subscribers who have been voraciously listening to our stories for over 3 years now. I really can't believe it that you've been listening to us for that long now. You, my friends, are an esteemed part of the Storytel family today. And we want to take this moment to acknowledge your support and enthusiasm in continuing your relationship with us. Well, to grace this occasion, with us today is a multi talented personality who has enjoyed a spectacularly well fulfilled creative career alongside him. He's an actor, director, screenwriter, and a passionate social activist. He's none other than the Rahul Bose. Yay! Hey, Rahul.
The Rahul Bose sounds very scary and imposing. Hi, Ratna, how are you doing?
Very good. How are you?
Good, can't complain. All is well.
So, what's coming up in Valentine's Day? Rahul, tell us, what does Saint Valentine's Day mean to you?
Well, actually, I've always said every day is a day for love. Valentine's Day, of course, has connotations of romantic love, but otherwise, I see no reason why one can't have a celebration of love every single day. We have too much of hatred in the world, we have too much of dissension, we have too many divisions. So, the healing power of love, and frankly, for me, I run my own foundation, and the slug line of the foundation is the foundation of everything must be love. So whether you act, whether you play rugby, whether you read out stories on Storytel, there's no point doing anything if it isn't out of a sense of love. So in its loftiest way, I think love is what makes all of us happy. It's what makes life worth living. And often we tend to take it for granted. Sometimes we tend to search for it too much, but actually, love is everywhere. You don't have to look very hard. Valentine's Day specifically, of course, has always been associated with romantic love. And I think that everybody has their own nervous stories of Valentine's Day where you hesitantly gifted a rose anonymously to somebody in college, when you wrote a little note and hid it under the desk of the girl you liked in school, or whether you were teased mercilessly by friends on the rugby field because Valentine's Day was coming up and they knew that you liked such and such girl. So it has all those connotations. But on a larger level, I think it's important to celebrate the immortal, healing, and unsurpassable quality of love.
Wow. So beautifully said, actually. Um, to my friends out there, well, if you have any questions related to love, if you want to seek any answers from Rahul, you can
I can't give you any answers. I'm 53 years old and I'm single. What can I tell you about love?
Just to play with it. You can always list down your questions in the chat section and we'll just pick up the most interesting ones later on. And we'll try to answer that, huh, Rahul? I'll help you, don't worry.
Please, I need your help.
All right. So, Rahul, you've just lent your voice to a couple of classic love letters written by some great historical figures like Napoleon, Beethoven, King Henry VIII for Storytel. And for my audience out there, I just want to tell you that these love letters narrated by Rahul Bose have released on the app as we speak. And we go on to the narration of one such letter in a bit, but before that, Rahul, how was the experience of voicing these love letters for you? Did you feel their emotions when you were reading them?
Ratna, there's no point reading anything if you don't feel the emotion behind it. So since I was, I think, 6 years old, I began to lend my voice for stories. In those days, Amar Chitrakatha was making stories on Krishna, Sudama, and others. They were released as LPs. Nobody in your audience will even remember the big LPs, or maybe now that it's making a comeback as vinyl, they'll remember that. But these were released as big fat LPs, Krishna and Sudama, and I was Krishna in one of the recordings, and I think I wasn't six, maybe I was 9 or 10, and since then I've had a love relationship with the mic. Um, I remember when there was a radio station called Radio Midday about maybe 25 years ago, and I crafted my own show on Radio Midday. It was called Between the Lines, where I read passages from a book that I really loved,
Mhm.
knitting the story of that book without giving away the ending. And after each passage, I would play a song that captures the essence of the passage that I've just read. So Hindi songs, English songs, all kinds of songs. So it
Wow.
was a books and music kind of show, and it was called Between the Lines.
Mhm, mhm.
So that was something that I really enjoyed, and specifically talking about this particular why I said yes to it, because I don't say yes to anything unless I really love it. I was so moved by the unsaid in these letters. There's so much that Keats or Napoleon Bonaparte or Henry, King Henry. There's so much that you can make out that they want to say, and that they aren't saying because somewhere they don't want to overdo it with the woman they love. Somewhere uh, they don't want to express some parts of feeling that might be too complex to put down on pen and paper. But you can actually feel the weight of those feelings behind the words they've used. It's like you see the tip of the iceberg. You don't really see, 9/10 of the iceberg, which is below the surface. And that's what's really beautiful about a love letter. It gives you a fragrance of what somebody is
मैं राहुल को
feeling, but it doesn't give you the entire story. So I actually, of course, I read them, and I would never have said yes if I didn't like what was written. But there's the Lewis Carroll is funny, and uh,
Yeah.
there's a weird quirky humor there. There's a passion, there's anger in other letters, there's impatience in some other ones, there's arrogance certainly in King Henry's, and
Yeah.
so you begin to get a sense of the many manifestations of love that
Mhm.
these men have felt.
Right.
One doesn't know what their personalities were in total, but the letters, it was a great. It wasn't a challenge. It was just something that I really looked forward to getting under the skin of, and I really enjoyed myself when we were shooting, when we were filming, when we were recording. Uh, I could have gone on and on for another couple of hours, if I had the choice.
I could see that. When you were recording, you were totally into it. And that's why you didn't want any disturbance in between. And you just wanted to just feel it all over while doing it.
And if you remember, Ratna, I did 2 or 3 different takes.
Yes.
One a little bit more passionate, one a little more withdrawn, one a little more, matter of fact, just so that you guys could choose, what flavor you wanted for which piece. And
Totally.
I don't know which ones you've chosen. So I'm waiting to be surprised. It's like acting. You don't know which take the director is going to choose. So
Yeah.
I was happy with all the takes. But what was really nice was the flow of these letters is so organic, and they're so well written that I didn't really have to stop and say, please take that line again, if you remember. It sort of, the whole thing flowed very organically. And that's always better than cutting and chopping and pasting and saying, please take this line from this take and this line from that take. That's how I actually like to dub my films also. When I
Mhm.
dub them, I like to just listen to the scene 4 or 5 times, internalize the scene, take myself back to what the character I was playing at that moment on the set or on location, and then dub. So that process is a process that I think makes your dubbing, or in this case, the recitation, more true.
Mhm. Mhm. Very interesting, actually. Um, Friends, now Rahul is going to be narrating a love letter written by Napoleon Bonaparte to his wife Josephine in the year 1795. This was just prior to their wedding. And well, actually, just a little trivia on Napoleon. I was surprised when I read a love letter by Napoleon, because he's been such a, we've known him as a dictator all over the years. Little did I know that he had such a soft side to him internally. And he has actually written like a total of 75,000 letters in his entire life, mostly addressed to his wife before and after their wedding. And this was quite a surprise for me. So Rahul, everybody's waiting. Please go ahead.
Right, here we go. This is a letter written in 1795. Um, I wake filled with thoughts of you. Your portrait and the intoxicating evening which we spent yesterday have left my senses in turmoil. Sweet, incomparable Josephine, what a strange effect you have on my heart. Are you angry? Do I see you looking sad? Are you worried? My soul aches with sorrow, and there can be no rest for your lover. But is there still more in store for me when, yielding to the profound feelings which overwhelm me, I draw from your lips, from your heart, a love which consumes me with fire? It was last night that I fully realized how false an image of you your portrait gives. You are leaving at noon. I should see you in 3 hours. Until then, mio dolce amor, 1,000 kisses, but give me none in return, for they set my blood on fire.
Oh my God, that's lovely. Oh my God. I was totally immersed in it. Well, the chat section over here is booming. Oh my God. Rahul, that was lovely. I think we just went to another world only with that letter.
Yeah, we should read another one. We should read another one, another
Sure.
short one.
Let's do
But
that.
it's you have to send it to me because I haven't gotten. You just if you send it to.
Okay, I'll do
We'll
that.
figure it out. Yeah,
Okay.
but we can talk in the meantime.
Okay, yeah.
Or we can take questions on love in the meantime.
Definitely, I'm going to do that. So I think I have a question for you before we go on to the chart, actually. Rahul, love is a very subjective emotion today. Some people say that love cannot be defined. Some say they feel love towards all. It's more like a universal love. And some say romantic love is above all versions of love. What do you say?
I think the love that you can give without getting any love back is the highest form of love. That ability is almost superhuman, but if you can have that ability to keep loving when you're faced with indifference or even hate or violence, Mahatma Gandhi is a real symbol of that. Mandela, Martin Luther King. These are people who really, I'm not saying they did it every day, 24 hours a day, but they did it at times when it mattered the most. Love that requires love back is human, but is on a lower plane. Romantic love, on the other hand, is another kind of intoxication, because when romantic love meets and resonates on the same wavelength as the person that you love, then you can jump over the ceiling. Then you can, your love can incinerate a planet. Then your love fuels you with enough energy to do, and some people have done the most stupid things under the intoxication of love. It just fuels you for years. So That kind of reciprocation, and when your love meets the same the same resonance from somebody else who you love, and I have had that experience in my life, I can't think of anything. No meal, no place that you travel to, no phenomenal uh, movie. I can't think of any outside stimulus that gives you that kind of energy, ecstasy. And of course, when those things break, then the tears and the self-pity and the anguish, if one could harness that energy, then climate change wouldn't be a problem at all. We would solve the problems of the planet if somebody could harness the energy from love, reciprocated, and from love that finally is, that finally dies or sours or breaks. Both these energies are, but as they say in the world, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So the good part of love is all of that. And then the downside is the tears and all of that. But a lot of literature has come out of broken hearts. So, who's to say?
Yeah, yeah. My God, beautifully said, beautifully said. Oh my God. So actually, the gist of it all is that love shouldn't have any expectations. Love
The
is just
highest
a
form,
gift
the highest form of love, which you and I, Ratna, I'm sure would fail at miserably on a day-to-day basis.
as human beings.
That love, if you can feel that love in your heart without getting anything in return or even getting a negative feedback. And this is not about stalking a woman. I'm talking about society. I'm talking about, people. I'm talking about uh, races, cultures. If you can do that with people who are not willing to listen to you, not willing to open their hearts, then and then and then if their hearts open, if they see, after you are trying a million times, if they see what you're trying to do, and if they exhale for a moment and just be. And I have the hope, Ratna, till the day I die, that every human being has in herself or himself the capacity to feel that serene softness, that openness, that calm, that trust towards other human beings. It's only a question of finding the right key to unlock that.
Wow, wow, wow. A lot to contemplate over there, my God. Very beautiful, Rahul. Thank you. Thank you for such lovely thoughts. I think I'll be like years to come, I'll be reminiscing about this. Thank you so much. Um, let's go and take a look at the chat. Oh my God, lots and lots of comments over here. Wow. Okay. So Rahul, this should be a little fun question for you. Try your best. So this lady named Ankita is asking that how do I tell my crush I like him without making things weird? Any suggestions?
Well, I'm a great believer in the truth. If you don't feel weirdly, it won't come out weird. If love has to mean playing games to get someone to love you back, ah, so it takes too much time. It's not truthful. I think if I, and I don't know, Ankita, obviously, Ankita, please feel free to throw out whatever advice sounds dangerous or wrong to you, but I would always go with the truth. To just go look into that person's eyes and say exactly what you feel. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is the person will say, well, I don't feel that way. But I don't think that person will laugh at you. I don't think the person will scorn you. I don't think the person will think less of you, because you've graced them with the truth, and you've graced them with courage, your courage to open yourself up to someone else. That requires a lot of courage. And I think human beings will, if not recognize and reciprocate your love, they will recognize that courage.
Wow, that's great. Ankita, I hope you got your answer over there. Be honest. Just show your true face since the very beginning, and everything will be all right later on.
Even if it's not all right, even if you don't get the guy, you will be able to walk away from it with uh, a gentle smile.
Sure,
in your heart.
sure. I agree. I totally
I,
agree.
I'm giving love advice. This is ridiculous. I'm not supposed to be doing this. Ankita,
Fun.
do whatever you want to, please.
So
I'm like
Suki says,
some love guru out here, you know.
but I think it was just an apt answer for a question like that. Suki has a question. Tell us, if you can, about your first love. Have you written a letter to anyone?
Oh yeah. Wow. My first real love was when I was 17 and she was 16. And we ended up seeing each other for 5 years, 4 years out of which she was in American university. So in those days, you know, the world has moved so fast. I'm talking about the late 80s, 90s.
Okay.
You had to write letters to America.
Yeah.
So I wrote letters on those blue inland letters, uh, and cramming up as much as I could. I must have written 4 years, one letter every week. She was away for 36 weeks a year. That's 144 weeks. Yeah, 144 letters, I'm sure, would have gone. And she wrote back. She wrote back equally prolifically. So yes, I have written many letters. Um, then, of course, there comes a phase when you write poetry to the person you love, even if she's next door, you know, on Whirly Sea Face. That's okay. You still write letters, uh, or you write them and then you read them out. To send stuff electronically, mm, I'm not a great fan of Instagram poetry and all of that stuff. I think it's a little facile. I think you need to work a little bit. You need to show her or him. As I said, LGBTQIA, it doesn't matter. You need to show your loved one uh, that you have put in some effort. So you know, even if it is, I mean, you don't want to type out a love note, do you? You want to kind of write it. I think.
Totally.
But then again, you know, sometimes I have sent passionate messages, not to strangers. That would make me a stalker, but to people who have a relationship with, you know, on messages. Sometimes you just have to do that. I have done that too. But letters, yes, I've written many letters.
And do you still have those letters with you?
Oh no, I'm not a keeper. I don't keep. I actually don't keep anything. Even when
Yeah.
I get gifts, I have a 24-hour rule because I have everything in my life. I need nothing. I haven't needed anything new in my life for the last maybe 15, 20 years, at least 15 years. So I have a 24-hour rule. When I get a gift, it has to leave my hands in 24 hours.
Uh-huh.
And I have to give it to somebody who really wants it, who really needs it. So that's the way that's the way so with the letters and stuff, I'm not saying I'm callous. I'm just not a keeper.
Uh-huh.
I have a tiny home. If I kept everything, I wouldn't be able to live in it. So things come, they stay in my heart, but they leave me physically.
Lovely. Just lovely. Satya Sarkar. Satya Shankar, actually, sorry for your name. So he says that, what's your opinion on the institution of marriage?
How, how do you answer that where everybody agrees with you? Look, I'll only say this for someone who has never married. I've I grew up with four boys from the age of 6. They're still my best friends. One of them has passed away. He'll always remain in my heart. So there were 5 of us, now there are 4. And all of them have the most blissful marriages. Children, marriage. Uh, and I look at them and I realized the reason their marriages work is because their wives are their best friends. They can say anything to them. There's laughter, there's trust, there's healthy argument, there's a dark sense of humor, there's teasing, and there is a bedrock of most times passive love. Of course, I'm sure there's active love in some, but over
Yeah.
time it becomes a gentle river that you're floating on. You don't need to even ask if the river is there. And that I have noticed in these now three boys, men, their relationships and their life. That's how it's worked. Laughter, trust, giving each other space, healthy argument, but always respect. Yeah,
Respect is the primary requirement amongst two.
for sure. I mean, for me, even for attraction, I have to inherently respect the person for the values I hold dear. They
Yeah.
may be different from you, Ratna,
Yeah.
but the values I hold dear, are someone who is compassionate and kind, someone who is uh, fair and not prejudiced about anything, somebody who's inclusive to everybody in the world, no matter what religion, no matter what color, no matter what gender, no matter who you are. Uh, and also, I also really respect people who work very hard, because you don't have to be talented or rich.
Yeah.
Just people who work hard. People who understand that there is a divinity in that. So that's my thing.
Yeah. Okay, this is the last question, and I think Shuromita, I kind of resonate with what you've asked, because even I want to ask that. Rahul, what would it take a woman to make her fall in love with you?
A sense of humor. A
Aha.
sense of humor, yes. She should be able to crack the cruelest jokes at me about me, and also crack the cruelest jokes at herself. That kind of sense of humor is irresistible. What would help? And that kind of sense of humor, it comes with an intelligence. It's inherently not an academic intelligence or, oh, I read these books. Just it comes with an intelligence that could even be a high emotional intelligence. That and kindness. I think if somebody is genuinely kind or not, you can make out very quickly. That is a quality that you can't fake. Somebody who's inherently universally compassionate. I'm not saying you're starting an NGO or you're helping so and so or this cause, none of that. Just a general sense of kindness, compassion, empathy, and a wicked sense of humor. That would pretty much seal the deal.
I would work on that and come back to you. So I know, friends, I said that was the last question, but I think I find this very interesting. So I think this is going to be my last question. Aliba Sarangi is asking that, Rahul, do you think the generation next is missing out on something vital, as they are the millennials and they do not really relate to the concept of a love letter?
I think that with attention spans getting shorter and shorter, the millennials, and I work with a lot of them uh, in my industry, have to grasp concepts very quickly, and they're very good at that. Have to understand situations, analyze them, and come up with solutions very quickly, and they're good at that. I'm generalizing, of course, but I'm saying the best of them are good at that. But what is this life if without care we could just stand and stare? I forget that it's a poem called Leisure. जो हिंदी में एक शब्द है ठहराव.
Yeah.
जो the weight of the moment of stillness, that I think is I think my WhatsApp line, I think at the still point is where the dance lies, or something like that. To practice stillness, even if it is for 2 or 3 minutes a day, will then make them unbeatable. Because that stillness allows you to contemplate. And I think a lot of people have been doing that during the pandemic. They've been forced to just be still. Their bodies have been still, and then gradually over months, their minds have also learned to be a little more still, even if it's temporary. So the millennials, again, it's a generalization, would be unbeatable if they could inculcate those few moments of stillness, dhyan, into their souls, because deep down, that's what all of us crave. We crave to have the confidence that if we are still, no demons will come rushing out of our heads. No guilt will come to overpower us. No sense of shame will come to weaken us. If we can be still and we can still respect ourselves in that stillness, um, that's a great power for anybody to inculcate.
Wow.
Then, if you use that stillness to write a love letter, or to, or to, or just to taste your food, how many of us actually taste our food? How many of us actually sit and eat? A meal takes about 4 to 6 minutes. To eat our food without doing anything else, is something that you'll be amazed at the answers, at the amount of people who don't do that. So yeah.
I hope the millennials are listening to this. I think this was very, very relevant to today and very important, actually.
Why would millennials come onto a show where there's a 53-year-old guy reading love letters from 1795? Please tell me, Ratna. I beg you. If there's
Rahul,
any
you'll be
millennial on this
surprised.
chat, send in your whatever, your thumbs up or your hand up or whatever now, because I would be in
You'll be
shock.
surprised. You'll be surprised. You still have fans in that generation. It's not just the oldies like me, but yes, there are fans out there. And
Ratna, first of all, you are not old. Please, let's be very clear about age differences here and stuff like that. Let's be very, very clear. Yeah, I don't need to be flattered. Sorry.
I know, yes, yes. After working with you, yes, I learned that from you. That yes, I don't think anything works on him. Hard work does work on him. But that was lovely. Thank you guys, thank you audience for putting in such great questions out there. I'm so sorry we weren't able to answer all of them, but that was great, and I think it's such profound words from Rahul, actually. Rahul, on a leaving note, any thoughts on love you would like to express?
Never give up on it. The saddest sentence I can think of hearing from anyone is, love, who needs it? That betrays a real hurt human being. It doesn't have to be romantic love. It just can be any. Love is everywhere. You feel it. You just have to look and see how many people actually love you, and then you'll automatically feel better. So never give up on it. Some of the saddest stories of people who give up on it end up in tragedy, and it's only afterwards when we turn around and say, how could she have done that? Why did he do that? Didn't they know they were so loved? So my last thought would be, never give up on it, and never ever fail to tell the people you love that you love them, preferably on a daily basis. If not on a daily basis, just do it often. You should never die thinking, I wish I told my father that I loved him. It's been ages since I told my sister that I loved her, or my wife, or husband, or whatever, right? Do it today. Do it today, and do it every day, so that if something happens to you today, there'll be a smile on your lips, because you'll know that your kids, that your parents, that your significant other, your siblings, they all know that you love them. It's not that Western, hi, I love you, mom. I'm not even saying that. We have ways. Indians have ways of showing love that make you cry. You don't have to say anything. Even when mom says, khana kha ke jao. When you're going, oh, mom, come on, I'm going out. I'm going to go outside and eat. She says, khana kha ke jao. Or, mom, I'm in school, something bad happened. She says, the first thing, fathers or mothers, I'm not being sexist here. First thing my dad would say, just come home. So my mom died when I was 20. My dad, was with us for 20 years after that. And he would just, if something happened, which you needed to talk about, the first thing he would say is, just come home. We'll figure it out. Just come home. What he was saying is, just come to love. just come and sit with sit with love, and then we figure it out. So Indians have different ways of saying it,
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that is uh, yeah, to keep expressing your love whichever way you want to, and to know, and to always know that to never give up on it, that somebody in the world out there loves you.
Lovely. Wow. Rahul, any of your forthcoming projects you want to tell us about? When can you
Of
when
course,
can
I
we
have
see
no
them?
problem. I mean, I signed these 45-page contracts, which ban me from saying much about the projects. But I have done one project uh, for Netflix, which is going to be releasing on the 8th of March. It's called Bombay Begums, and the promotions haven't started, so I can't talk much about it. But I will when very soon, very, very soon, I'll be talking about it. I've done another project, which is in English for Netflix, which I'm also very, very happy with. It's a character so far away and different from what I play in Bulbul, for example, that it's going to be a real breath of fresh air for people who say, "Yeah, why are you playing these dark roles? I can't show my parents, and you have to, play something better, more positive. Kuch to yaar, karo yaar." So this is a fun, light-hearted, positive guy. So don't worry about that. I've done another series in Bengali. Out of the 42 films I've done 9 films in Bengali, about 11 in English, and about 20 in Hindi. So
Okay.
there are 9 films in Bengali. So I do speak the language. So I've done this my first series in Bengali, which is a wonderful thriller, which I've done with one of Bengal's top directors, Srijit Mukherjee. And so I've just finished doing that. So a series in Bengali is done. 2 series in English have been done, and I am right now considering 2 series in Hindi. I want to make that a really good one, because after Bulbul, that will be my next thing in Hindi on OTT platforms. But whatever it will be, I assure you it will be solid.
Wow. Wow. We really look forward to it actually. And not many people knew about the Bengali bit actually, that you do a lot of stuff in Bengali as well. So I think that was a surprise for me somewhere.
Yeah,
um,
and some of them are really good, and they're subtitled now, and you can see them. I'm not pushing anything, but
yeah,
I think the Japanese wife is half Bengali, half English. That Aparna
yeah.
Sen has directed. I'm very proud of that. Kalpurush, that Buddhadev Das Gupta directed, got the Swarna Kamal at the National Awards, which is the best film of all films, of all
Wow.
languages across the country. Uh, Antuhin, Antahin, The Unending, that's also a Bengali film that also got the Swarna Kamal. So there's some very fine work coming out of Bengal. There always
Wow.
has been.
Yeah, there always has been. I think Bengal is just the crux of the literary world out there, one of the literary worlds out there. And I think I love the language and I love the sweetness in it.
Now,
Um,
my Maharashtrian Punjabi side, I'm half Maharashtrian, half Punjabi from my mother's side.
wow.
That now I need to do a Marathi film and I need to do a Punjabi film. Sooner or later, it will happen.
Lovely. And do you know both these dialects? Do you know these languages?
मेरी पंजाबी आंदी है थोड़ी थोड़ी.
अरे lovely, क्या बात है.
हाँ हाँ.
क्या बात है, वाह वाह. um Rahul, it was such a delight having you today, and it was such a great conversation. Oh my God. And all the very best on all your endeavors. We look forward to seeing your work. And we're always such great fans of yours, actually. We keep on talking about it all the time. Thank you so much.
Ratna, thank you. Thanks to everybody at Storytel. I love doing the stuff. I hope people enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you. And for my dear
Cheers.
friends out there, our dear subscribers, 5 classic love letters in the golden voice of Rahul Bose have released on Storytel today. Do lend them a listen and draw the energy of love out of that. We surely hope you enjoyed this Valentine's special session with Rahul. Thank you once again for being our subscribers. Keep listening, keep enjoying. Thank you. Thank you so much.